Welcome.
Hello.
Hello tonight.
Just me.
Have you been with us before?
First time.
Oh, you picked a great night.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
I get all worked up. Silly. It's a party.
Hello there. Welcome to the Nerdy Cantina, where we discuss all things Star Wars. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the season finale that just dropped for Star Wars: The Acolyte, which is currently streaming on Disney+. Hashtag not a sponsor. But if they want to be, call me, maybe, as the song says. I am your host and head bartender, head waiter, whatever you want to call it, of this great show known as the Nerdy Cantina. My name is Ryan of Van I Quote Channel, and our panel is very excited to talk about this finale because, boy, do we have thoughts that can go on for days and days and days, maybe even months and months. I don't know. But please welcome my good friend and the man behind that great intro we just showed you at the top of the show. The Dutch Star Wars guy is back. Hello, Case. How are you, good sir?
Hello. I'm doing well. I'm interested to hear everyone's opinions on this episode. I definitely have thoughts. So, yeah, looking forward to a nice discussion here. A civilized discussion.
So uncivilized. No, we'll be civilized. It'll be fine. Not like episode 3. So the movie, not the episode of the show. But anyway, also joining us is someone who's no stranger to Star Wars. She's been a fan of it for so long that she actually studies very well, and she takes good notes. And she's back too. So please welcome Jen. It's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me back. And yes, civilized, juicy conversation. Tons of theories.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need another drink over here. Barkeep, let's go. Also joining us is someone who is very good at taking notes. Unfortunately, he lost access to his legal pad and his pen, so he's been doing things the new-fashioned way and doing it on his cell phone. Please welcome Dion of All Star Fandom is in the building, and a massive fan of that trailer that dropped not too long ago concerning A Brave New World. How you doing, Dion?
Well, thanks again for having me, Ryan. Yeah, you bullied me into taking my notepad away, so that was your fault. But thanks again for
call him out. Call him out. Let him know.
In the spirit, Case had a drink at the cantina. Yeah. I bust out my Rancor.
Wow! Wow! Look at this! Look at that!
We are ready. We're ready to go. Quick story. We got this at Olga's Cantina at Disney World. It's very low lighting in there. My wife thought the flight was $35, and it came back and said $85. And she was like, "Oh, it's too dark in here." So we went home with it by mistake because she thought it was only $35. So, but it added to our collection. So
I have the first edition Endor cup.
Wow.
From Olga's Cantina.
Do you? Wow.
I do.
That's great. We should do a separate episode of this show where we talk about our favorite Star Wars collectibles. I think we should do that. That'd be a lot of fun. That could be a little bit of a spin-off, right, Case? We can do that. That sounds like fun.
We're going to be here more than a minute with that one.
No, I'm just saying, like, for a separate episode of this program, we should consider doing that. I think it'd be a lot of fun for all 4 of us involved, right? I mean, look how many books Christie has on our Instagram. She said to me the other day, I have to develop another book nook or whatever it is. So it's just like, yeah, good luck with that, Christy. We love you. By the way, Christy, aka Snips & Co, is not going to be able to join us this week, but we wish her well. Yeah, we love you, Snips. We love you, Snips. Please follow her on Instagram at snipsandco_ and check out some of the great embroidery canvases that she's put together over the many, many months and years. So, by the way, Takako is here. She says, "Hi, I have thoughts." Well, guess what? We're happy to hear those thoughts. We're going to have a lot of thoughts because...
Drop them in the chat, sweet lady. Drop them in the chat.
Drop everything in the chat.
I have more questions and thoughts, but yeah. I have a lot of questions.
That, but
I'll give it to the panel.
You're right. But I do want to let someone know who's watching or listening to this right now.
I have questions.
We all have questions. Feel free to leave your thoughts, your comments, your feelings, anything about Star Wars or the Acolyte in general in the comments below. And do not forget to like and share this video with every single person that you know. If you're joining us live on the replay, we thank you for being with us. With that out of the way, Case, I'm going to turn things over to you first. Just out of curiosity, any positives that stood out to you in this episode / finale for you?
A lot of positives. I always have to give credit to the choreography. Fight choreography is always great. and especially some of the moves that they were pulling. Like Khmer at one point pulls out a second saber, throws one way, one the other way, goes at Soul, all three converging on Soul, and then Soul has to fucking make a ring, and that was just like, that was very creative, and I was like, that's awesome, that's great, I love it. Also, I very much get the feeling that this is going to be a point of controversy, but I loved Osha's heel turn. Osha going with Khmer, siding with Khmer, going to the dark side. I'm like, I'm on board with it because we were talking about this last week. Soul is the worst, and this episode to me convinces me even more that Soul is the absolute worst. He thinks that he's in the right, when I very much disagree with that. So the moment that, I really loved how May was baiting Soul, like, just say it, you killed our mother, then he admits it, and then Osha is right there behind him listening to all of it. And I'm just like, yes, okay, finally, we have his confession. He does confess to Osha that he was the one to do that. I was very happy to see how that played out, because it led to Osha's heel turn. And for the first time in live action, we see how a kyber crystal is bled, because this
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
So
introduced in the
first time I've ever seen it.
So good.
Yeah, like this was something that was introduced in the Ahsoka novel back in, I think, 2016 when it came out.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we got we knew how red kyber crystals were created, red lightsabers, and then in the game Jedi Survivor, we see a character do it as well. But again, that's a video game, so the graphics are only that good. Now we actually saw it in live action, and I thought it looked pretty awesome. And as I said, like I fully believe Osha's heel turn. I am sure that Ryan is going to disagree with me on this one, because Ryan has disagreed with me on every single bad character or dark side character on the show. But I bought it. I liked it. And I suppose I should save my thoughts about who the mysterious Plagueis figure was for later.
Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Exactly.
That was the quote in my head in that moment. I was like, thank you.
Goodness gracious. Some people have, speculated, was that Plagueis? Was it not? Was it some creepy looking dude?
It is.
It's so Plagueis.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
It's Plagueis.
All right. Well, then how come he didn't say anything? Does he not have a voice? Does he not want to say?
Because we are getting a season 2.
We're getting a season 2. Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get that.
We are getting a season 2.
We'll see.
I guarantee you we are getting a season 2.
Have they announced it, though?
You don't
know, but the views are doing really well.
Unless I see something on paper, or unless I see episode 2 of season 2, episode 1.
You don't tease an ending like that and not get a season 2.
Plagueis, you don't do that. No.
Well, I was even thinking about the other tease that they had at the end, so I don't think you do that without.
But we'll see. We don't know yet.
Season 2.
We'll see. We have no idea yet. Anything's possible. But Jen, over to you. Any positives that stood out to you?
Similar to Case, the fight choreography in this one was stupendous. I have to do some fact checking just for myself. I believe I read somewhere that some of the fight coordination team was actually some of the people who worked on Rogue One. And if that is fact, you can really see it in the choreography. That was great. I love the cut scenes that they did between the twins going into their personal fight with each other. And the cutscenes going back to Khmer and Soul, seeing how the Force is used in combat a little bit more explained out or shown out. Loved it. Definitely the kyber crystal getting bled into the red, and how the editing was so specifically done that it really looked like blood at one point. The way it was going into the crystal, that attention to detail for me was stupendous. And then we got Darth Plagueis. Very excited about that. So one of my predictions that I hope to get, the second big bag who's pulling the strings, that was revealed, because that's what I wanted to see. So very happy about that. And then one of the things that I actually really found interesting that I've been thinking about is thinking about where we started with episode 1 with the characters and where we ended up, and some of the switching that has happened. So like, when we meet Osha, she's in very light color palette in her costuming. She's very light, and then this slowly change in the in the colors to leading to where she is. And like the twins almost kind of flip in a way where May is all in the light colors and then she's in the dark colors.
Well, May is literally wearing Osha's clothes.
Right. But I mean, like when you think of
Hoth
like,
ripoff outfit.
well, no, when you think of like what colors communicate in costuming as far as what's happening to the character in the story, that's what I mean. So very, very, very interesting. Just thinking about everything as a whole, and then now that we have all the information, and how we ended up back on Brendock, thinking about Indara, that fight, how I look at it very differently now. So I'm just very pleased with this episode overall. I love the setups that we have. We got Puppet Master Yoda. I was very happy to see that. Made my heart burst and all that. And yeah, there's a lot more to talk about. I mean, like, this is just the very, very, very surface of the episode. So I could go on and on, but that's not going to be fair to everyone else. So I will stop there.
It's fine. Have another drink. Dion, I know you took notes on your phone and you kind of disqualified your legal pad there for a while, but that's all right. It's fine. We'll let it slide. What were the positives that stood out to you in this finale?
I mean, we got to know the big bad behind everything. We saw the heel. As being a wrestling fan, I never called it a heel turn, but now, Case, we're calling it a heel turn.
Yeah, we all saw coming a mile away that she was going to go dark.
Okay, turn to the dark side.
Yeah, no, I love heel turn because I love wrestling. But so that was a good
brother. Yeah,
I actually enjoyed that. It's sort of like Jen said, like the complete 180 of both May and Osha. Then we find out more about Khmer and like, was he a Padawan of
Venestra?
Venestra, thank you. So there is more story for that coming in season 2. It did a good job of setting up a season 2, because going into it, I wasn't too sure about, like, okay, I don't, if it ended here, would I be okay? And I was like, I think so. But this last episode gave me enough to be like, okay, I want to see where the story goes a little bit more. More positive about the episode. The fighting was phenomenal. That's one thing that they do perfectly now is our lightsaber fights. Like, I've never seen one like that. So since episode 1 till now, for 24 years or so, it's been solid lightsaber fights here on out. The Kyber crystals, and didn't know that. I didn't read anything. Jen, I'm still waiting to get that book from the library. But
okay.
But
it's an audiobook.
It's in the works. I like reading on my Kindle at night.
Nice.
Go ahead.
Nice. Read on that Kindle, boy.
But yeah, a few things too. David Harewood, he's the senator in that show. He was also Martian Manhunter and Supergirl. I love him as an actor too.
I thought that was him because he showed up and I'm like, isn't that the dude from that no good Supergirl show? Okay, that's cool.
Stop it. That show was good.
It's not hashtag Laura. Hold on a second. Hashtag Laura Vandervoort's the real Supergirl.
But yeah,
but that was a nice surprise. Absolutely, that was another one.
It was, yeah. And then obviously the tease with Puppet Yoda at the end. Again, just bringing in all the casual fans. Again, it's a. Did we need it? I don't know, but I loved it to close the show out because it made me okay. I didn't miss. I felt like I was in the know about things when I saw Yoda at least. Obviously, again, another. Soul was still the worst. Case already said it. He just felt. I didn't get his Okay, this might be going to weakness, Ryan. So I apologize. Just a question. I didn't get his whole full on reasoning of him being as enamored with Osha and May that he was. I never fully understood the reason of him trying to save her.
I personally think that because we saw episode 3, we know everything that happened in episode 3 from Osha's perspective, and that the mother. Wait, what am I saying? The mother was actually very nice. What the hell? Okay, I feel exposed. Anyway, the mother was actually treating her daughters very nicely. However, from the specific moments that Soul was spying on them, she was pushing them with the Force, and it looked bad. So specifically from the moments that Soul saw the daughters interact with the mother or mothers, the mothers were treating him very harshly, very like it looked mean. That's why he is fully under the impression that they're not being treated well, and that's why he felt like Jesus Christ, these comments they're throwing me off. I'm trying to
understand, Ryan. Quit popping up.
But I just have the feeling that Soul, from his perspective, thinks he was right, thinks he was protecting the girls and taking them away from evil, which in his opinion are the witches, because he doesn't understand the witches. He is just like, I don't understand you. You have force power, and I think that's bad, and I don't like that kind of stuff. So that's why from his perspective he was saying like, oh, this is all bad. However, we know that's not the truth, and when May literally tells him, "You killed my mom in front of me," he is still like, "Oh no, that was all for your own good."
Yeah,
like if she confronts you with that, come on, dude, you have to admit defeat at some point.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't even try to explain it himself, saying, it was a very high tense situation. I didn't know what your mother was doing. All of a sudden, she was just turning into dust. You were disappearing. And I turned the lightsaber on and I reacted. It was a reaction. And, even to this time, I've struggled with that decision, if he really does or not. I think he still fully believes he did the right thing. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, he does say, my one true regret was not being able to save both of you. Because now that we saw, especially in this episode, and that it was said really quickly, so I don't know if people caught this, and how May survived was when she was falling down, definitely to her death. Something caught her and pulled her into that tunnel, and that's what saved her. So we know how she lived through that as a child, and then we didn't get a lot of answers though, to where she just sat there and she waited. So, but yeah. It was definitely emotional for him, and I completely agree with Case. I think any one of us in that situation, like I say sometimes, if you take Star Wars out of it, if we see a pair of two girls that are sisters, twins or not, and it looks like they're being mistreated by adults, we're gonna have natural assumptions. So
yeah, and I mean, now Soul is like considered the worst Jedi ever now, because he got blamed for killing everyone. So this is all his fault, apparently.
Anestra.
Oh yeah, dude, I have so many thoughts.
So Ryan, I'm done. Sorry.
On that, I have so many thoughts on that garbage thing that she did, throwing her own people, her own race, and her own species under the bus just to save herself. What a psycho!
She grabbed him by the collar and the belt loop.
This shows
she threw everybody under the bus.
But this shows why the Jedi fall in episode.
Yeah, but there's another reason why I didn't like it, but I'll get to that in the negatives.
This explains why, like, one of the many reasons why they fall, and this was definitely one of the biggest turns to go down that path. So, which is another reason why I think we're getting a season 2. But there's I could go into that a whole lot more, because there's a theory I have about a certain person on a certain comm that she was talking to in a certain scene.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe so. By the way, before I share my positives, and for those of you tuning in, this is the Nerdy Cantina, talking all things Star Wars. We're talking about the finale of The Acolyte. Spoiler-heavy discussions. You've been warned. Let us know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this with every single person that you know. And if you're joining us live or on a replay, we thank you for being here. By the way, Takago says, I don't think it was a heel turn. And then, Lauren says it was confirmed that, in fact, was Plagueis. So there you go. With that mysterious figure.
Okay, I do wonder where, because I haven't seen anything.
Ask Lauren. She'll know.
Send links.
Yeah, drop it in the chat there.
I need some kind of confirmation.
Lauren, drop it in the chat. Do us a favor. Rapid fire question, because I want to get to some of these other things, and I do want to share my positives for this week's episode of The Acolyte. Samantha Mina says, what are your favorite sci-fi franchises? Rapid fire. Case.
Star Wars. Okay. No, wait. Star Wars is not sci-fi. Dune.
Okay. Dion?
Oh, God. Aliens.
Yeah, baby. Get away from her. You. Jen?
Dune.
Wow, everybody's on the Dune bandwagon. I should probably get on this myself. I need to watch.
I've been raised on Dune. I love Dune.
Okay, I need to watch the 2-part movie that Denis Villeneuve made recently. So
best adaptations ever made.
Yeah, I got to watch that 6.5-hour movie. That ought to be something.
You've done worse.
Well, I've done a lot worse. Trust me. But Favorite sci-fi? I mean, I like Star, but it's not Star. Does Star Trek count or no?
Yeah, Star Trek is.
I feel like
Okay,
it.
all right,
yeah.
all right. I'm going with Star Trek First Contact. All right, that movie is pure gold and it's a perfect movie. So there you go. Samantha Mina says, Dion, what's your favorite book?
Oh, in a trilogy, I love rereading Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure
Boom.
why. It's just so good.
Good answer.
You and I got to talk about the Power of the Rings then on another time.
That's another. Yeah.
I finally finished it like 2 months ago. I've been behind. But yeah.
We got to talk about it.
This is for Dion, or I mean, I guess it's for, but I'll go to Dion specifically. Rapid fire. Dion, rapid fire. What is one of your favorite movies, and what is one of your favorite TV franchises? Says Samantha Mina.
Oh God, these are favorite movie, Batman '89. I know we just rewatched it, so I'll go with that.
Yes.
Favorite TV franchise. Funny enough, Law and Order SVU.
Ooh, Mariska Hargitay. All right,
2016. It's a great show.
dude. She's the longest running fictional character in the history of television. That's a big deal.
Ice-T is right behind her.
Ice-T's right behind her too, because he showed up at the tail end of season 1. Does anyone remember that? He showed up at the tail end of season 1, and then he debuted as a regular in season 2. That's right, big time. And then Samantha goes on to say, "Yes, love lightsaber fights." All right, good for you. We love lightsaber fights too. That's hold on a second. That's the stuff my childhood is made of. Fantastic. Chrissy, our new friend Chrissy, Colors TV, is giving us sci-fi emojis in the chat, whatever that is. Thank you, Chrissy. We love you too. Samantha Mina says, "I love Supergirl." Do you mean the character or the TV show? Because those are two very different.
TV show was not that.
Tread lightly with your answer.
Very different things, Samantha. The TV show and the character, two very different things. Let's see here. Samantha says, "Jennifer, your glasses are the bomb.com." She says.
Muchas gracias.
Yeah. And then she's asking me, Ryan, where do you find such cool people? It's called the internet. I find people on the interwebs. So social media, I think. Isn't that where I found you guys? Probably.
Yeah, we met on Clubhouse.
You got to dredge through a lot of other people, though.
I know you because of the Schmodown.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Kate. By the way, Sith Happens. Great shirt, Case.
That's a great shirt. Yeah.
She's loving it, man.
I figured it was fitting with this episode.
Yeah. And then Lauren goes on to say, "Nope, y'all got Google and I'm eating. You do it yourself."
Well, I'm doing a podcast.
Well, Takako says to Dion, "Read the books."
No, that one was to you, Ryan.
Or maybe it's for everybody. I don't know.
Oh, it's probably for you.
Thanks. And now she's saying, "Man, I need to see this show."
Yeah, you should. Get on it.
If you want to, go ahead, but tread lightly. I need an explanation from Dutch Star Wars guy. Good Lord. Well, go to his YouTube channel, Dutch Star Wars guy on YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel. You'll thank us later. Chrissy, our new friend Chrissy, has a quick fire question. She says, "What's your favorite dystopian novel or film?" Case.
Terminator is dystopian, right?
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with T2.
T2, which is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. There you go.
Yes.
Dion, what's your favorite dystopian novel or film? Go.
Does Mad Max count?
Yeah, it counts. It
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah, let's do the early Mad Max movies.
The originals with Gibson.
That one and Road Warrior. Yeah.
Road Warrior. Ooh, boy, that's old school right there. What about you, Jen?
Is Pacific Rim in that category?
Pac Rim? Pacific Rim?
No, Pacific Rim.
No, I know. I mean, if Idris Elba tells you that tonight we're going to cancel the apocalypse, I'd say sure.
Yeah, it counts.
Is it? Didn't Guillermo del Toro direct that? Yeah, he did.
Yes.
He did. It's a good movie.
I really love the first movie that came out, but I recently discovered on Netflix a animated series called Pacific Rim.
Really?
In the Black. That show was very, very good. So that one I would say is my favorite.
Wow.
That genre.
I'm going to say dystopian novel. I don't read much, even though I claim to be a reader, because Jen keeps telling me, read the novels, Ryan, or the audiobook. So thank you.
It's not just me. You have a gallery of people.
It's you, it's Dion, it's Case, it's Takako over here. I'm looking at you, Takako. By the way, favorite dystopian film, The Book of Eli. With Denzel.
Oh, that's
if you have never seen The Book of
good.
Eli, you need to sit your behind down and watch that film. That is a criminally underrated gem, in my opinion.
I think it's on my list of 100-something movies.
Oh, God. Dude, Book of Eli is so good. Takako says, Star Trek, Star Wars, Dune, Sprawl Trilogy. I never heard of that, by the way. Honorverse by David Warburton. I don't know what that is either. And the Expanse.
By the way, I will say, for anyone who says that Star Wars is sci-fi, understand the confusion, but first and foremost, Star Wars is fantasy.
It is a fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It is
Well,
a fantasy.
hopefully that answers the question. By the way, Takako, that's an impressive list. I might want to check out some of these titles that you just mentioned a moment ago. Samantha says, you all are my type of people. Well, that's good. We're glad to be your type of people on this show and any other show we may be hosting or producing because we love what we do. Samantha says you do. Yeah, I do read. I just don't read enough, according to everyone on this flipping panel. So I don't read enough. That's my problem.
Well, the issue is that Star Wars has way too many books to go into.
It has like 40. There are 48 novels in the High Republic series, which includes the YA and the kids book. So
yeah, but that's the High Republic alone.
Have less to read. Just do adult novels.
It's true. I'll just Google.
Yeah.
Case. I'm going to Google the.
Okay. Adult novels in the High Republic is like 15.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. 15.
Right, well,
that's it.
I could probably get through. I could probably get through those in like a week and a half or 2 weeks tops. So. All right, exactly. I got you, Case. Case, I got you, man. So here are my positives for this week's episode. Keeping the train on the rails here. The fights were great. I thought the fights were really, really well planned out, very well choreographed. The lightsaber turning from blue to red was something we've never seen before.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was awesome. I thought that was really cool, even though I saw her turning dark, aka a heel turn in pro wrestling terminology. I saw that coming from a mile away. As soon as she put on the helmet and started acting like Darth Vader in the weird-looking cave that Chimere has, I'm like, yeah, she's going to go dark and kill everybody. And she did. She did. She killed everybody.
She killed one person.
Yeah, well, that
person killed her mom.
True. But that's just the start of like a million people she's going to kill.
I see nothing wrong.
Honestly. I see nothing wrong with this either. She's going to kill so many people.
I mean, well, no, like from a trauma perspective, you know, the person that she trusted and was lied to for the first time. So yeah, she has like a paradigm shift because she's like, wait, the person who was raising me, training me, telling me to let go of these feelings, that it was my sister's fault. You actually killed my mother, who I actually loved. It's not that she didn't hate her parents. She loved her parents.
Right. And you also have to remember that she has only lived for about 24 years. So for 2/3 of her lifetime, she has believed one thing.
Right. And now she's getting confronted with a very hard truth. And so she's traumatized being back on Brendock because since she's force sensitive, and we know why, she's reliving all these memories. She just had a full-on fist fight with her sister, calling her a liar, and then hearing the truth of, oh yeah, no, I actually did it and lied to you. She's triggered upon triggered upon triggered upon triggered. Just she's triggered.
Yeah, now she's going to kill millions of people. So well done.
And I also do think that Chimere got through to her with everything that he was saying to her in episode 6.
And he gave her the helmet.
Yeah, and not also before the helmet, he was saying things to her that she really, she was cautious to believe. But the more that she is seeing, and the more that is now really coming out, I do think she is slowly starting to fully believe him because so far, Chimere has not lied a lot. The only thing I think he really lied about is about what the relationship between her and Jackie would be like. Other than that, he has been truthful. Like also about the Jedi being part of the Jedi, because we get confirmation that he was the pupil of Vernestra at some point. So he was part of the Jedi. So a lot of things that he has told her is true.
Yeah, I mean, he did some twisting of the truth, but it wasn't really far off point. It was just giving her a different perspective of it, definitely.
Yeah.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the whole Star Wars franchise is based on a point of it. By the way, before I get to some of my other positives here, if there are any, Takako says the sprawl equals what is that? Neuromancer, Count Zero, Mona Lisa Overdrive. Neuromancer won the Sci-Fi Triple Crown Award and is considered the first cyberpunk novel. Really?
Yes.
That'd be fun.
It is.
The sprawl equal. Okay. All right. I might have to look this up and add this to what is it? My Amazon list, Takako? Is that it? Okay. I'll add it over there. Thanks. I did not know that, by the way. That's a fun fact. Space opera. Samantha says I love YA novels. Good points. She says I need to get back on Disney. Yeah, you do need Disney Plus if you're going to watch any of these shows. So you might want to get the access code for sure. Do it.
Also, if you have not seen Andor, start with that.
Sure, go ahead.
Andor is fantastic. Yes, watch Andor as well.
I'm in the minority on that, but that's fine. But yeah, go and watch all of them. Watch them all, and then bring back your 2 cents. I'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear it actually as a community. But anyway, so the positives were what was it? The lightsaber fight was cool. Her blade turning from what was it? Blue to red was really cool. Yes, thank you, producers in the chat. Thank you. Private chat is getting a lot of activity tonight here, folks. But anyway. I'm trying to think what else. The mysterious figure, which I didn't know was Plagueis at the time, but now that we know, yes, it was Plagueis. I was like, ooh, who's this? What's this? Who's this guy? Interesting. So that was fascinating stuff. It was, even though it was a quick cameo. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to think. Man, what else? Yeah, both fights were good between the two sisters, and then Soul and Chimera. I mean, they both sets were just going at each other hard. They were trying to just demolish each other, and it was freaking glorious. I mean, this is like a Friday Night SmackDown and a Monday Night Raw main event rolled into one, Dion. Sorry, more wrestling references for those of you trying to keep score at home. But
Ryan, I sent you an image of a comic book of Darth Plagueis. You might want to compare that to what we saw in the episode.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me see that. Okay. Yep. Okay. I'm seeing it now. Thank you. I got the message, producers. Thank you. That's interesting though. Good stuff. Thank you, Case. And by the way, your thumbnails are just on point. Loving your thumbnails. By the way, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. You can see them right now on our YouTube channel, and you can also see some future ones down the line. Some of the dialogue I thought was kind of cool, but other than that, those are my positives. So that's gonna end it for me. I got so many.
About the show.
Yeah, it was a good finale, honestly.
I mean, it was an okay finale, but we all saw what was going to happen a mile away, with people dying, people turning dark, people. You know, and here's the other thing, and I'll get into this as a negative. Well, actually, you know what? Before.
Ryan, why don't you just start us off with the negatives?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go. All right, I'm going to roll right into this because
Start it off.
I have 2 billion pages worth of negatives here. So here's the deal. This show was very much handled poorly. The writing was so bland. Characters switching from one side to the other went way too quickly. There was no build up to it. It happens within 1 or 2 episodes, even though they were only given 8 episodes a season. I get that. You only have certain limitations to your set. I saw Osha turning dark a mile away. I knew she was going to kill off everybody. She killed Soul. By the way, the way that Soul went out with the Force choking to death, stupid. I thought he could have gotten his head cut off.
That is not.
That would have been a much better. Kill someone that killed your mom. Don't just choke him with these itty bitty little twiggy fingers. No. I want you to take Chimera's saber, or even Soul's for that matter. Take the one that you just got from Soul. Take it, point it at his throat, and say no more, and then just cut him off. Cut off his head. Do it. We've seen so many characters get their heads cut off in Star Wars with no blood, by the way. No blood. But you should have done that, Osha. If you were going to kill this dude, don't do it with little twiggy fingers. All right? That was lame. Venestra betrayed everybody she ever cared about, threw the Jedi under the bus, put the Jedi in a very negative light, and basically, to me, this show made every single Jedi in the entire history of Star Wars. Now that this was not their intent, I know it wasn't. But to me, this show basically just said the Sith are really the good people and the Jedi are the bad ones, and we should kill all the Jedi.
I disagree with that.
It painted the Jedi in such a negative light to the point where I thought the writer's intention of this whole series was to throw the Jedi under the bus. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. Not just the ones in the High Republic, but everyone who was going to come after them. Everybody. And that is not how I see Star Wars at all, in any way, shape, or form. And the other thing, and I'll bring this up too, because we have an image to support this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I have it here. Okay. So this trailer tees up all these big name characters that are going to have a huge impact on the show, right? You kill off every single one. In the first 5 minutes, you kill off Andara. A couple episodes later, you kill off X-23, which is illegal to me. No, you never kill off Daphne Keane, ever. You kill her off.
Disagree.
You kill off Kelnaka without him having a chance to fight for his own life. You know, and then this woman over here, what's her name? May, turns from bad to good in like 2 seconds and says, you know what? I may have killed this one dude or one person. Excuse me, Andara. That's who she killed. But she's like, listen, they're going to come after you. So why don't you just wipe my memory of everything that's ever happened to me and then let me go to jail? And then Venestra confronts her with this and says, do you remember anything recently? And she's like, what's the last thing you remember? She says, well, I remember fire and I remember someone dying and this happening. And does May even go to jail at the end of the show? I don't even think she gets a slap on the wrist. They just let her walk because her memory has been completely wiped. So she's not going to remember a gosh darn thing about her crimes. That's horrible. She still needs to go to prison. All right.
I want to push back on that just because one of the things when she's being asked, you know, she still remembered her mother getting killed. So that's where the memory wiping, in my view, in a way failed, because he said that he was going to wipe her memory out completely, and he didn't, which means that was truly devastating to her, what she saw, that it's such a core memory that couldn't even get wiped out. Because if they're in fact going to do a season 2, that could lead to another, maybe her getting her memories back somehow, and then Osha and May come up in the future again, but that's speculation. But I would argue that it fully didn't work, just because that was so traumatizing to her that she still remembers that. Like, no, a Jedi killed my mother. I remember that. That's a core memory.
All right. Well, and the other thing was, my thought about Soul killing, who was it?
Mother Anastasia.
Anastasia, thank you. Self-defense is not murder. All right. He thought that she was doing some witchy stuff and was going to possess the girls or disappear into acid, whatever it was. He defended himself. He emotionally reacted. You're right. Every action is going to have an equal or opposite reaction. That's how life works. To me, when he killed her, yes, was it traumatizing for the girls? Yes, I get it. Self-defense is not murder.
Yes, Ryan, but
in my opinion. But
by the way, you are still coming at this from the perspective of how Soul saw it, but from how it seems like you're kind of ignoring the way that May saw it. May only saw that he killed her mom, who she loved very much, and then after that, she just went away from there. And then what May saw is, she sees her sister. She's like, I just want to be with my sister. And this guy is there again, and he decides to save the sister and just let her drop to her death. So all that May saw is this guy killed her mom, and then let her drop to her death. And for 16 years, that is all that she's known.
Yeah.
Just based on that, I am fully on May's side. I cannot defend Soul in that regard. I understand that Soul has a certain perspective, but Soul has to at least be able to see her point of view. And it seems that you and Soul both are not able to see her point of view whatsoever, despite all evidence shown.
No,
I can understand both sides, because that's one of the reasons why I like the 2 flashback scenes. Why it's one of the things that I enjoyed was the way it was shot. Is because I can understand both sides, but then at the same time, I do agree with Case. It's like, from a little girl's perspective who's 7 years old, that's all she knows. And technically she doesn't have that maturity and understanding of circumstances at such a young age like we do as an adult, where we can read the room differently because we have a more mature understanding of things work, emotional reactions, emotional intelligence. She doesn't have that yet. She's only 7. So that's why it's like, okay, so this guy just killed my mother, and everything around me is falling. And then I see him again, to what Case just said, and then he's trying to save us both, and then he lets me fall. It's
Yeah, no, I get that. But at the end of the day, but my final thoughts and negatives about this whole thing is that, to me, the writing was bland. Everything happened. Some things happened to certain characters too quickly. Their arcs could have been handled way, way better. I felt like they took a really talented cast and they wasted a good amount of them really early on. That's unfair, not cool at all, especially when you team up heavily in the trailer and the marketing. That's ridiculous. And to me, at the end of the day, this show overall, to me, it painted the Sith as the good guys overall in Star Wars, and the Jedi are really the bad guys in all of Star Wars. So it's like, you can watch all 9, 12 films, whatever, and interpret that how you want. But at the end of the day, the Acolyte is saying, no. The Sith are actually right. The Jedi are dead wrong. They're all bad. The Jedi need to be wiped out. They fall for a reason. All this other stuff's going on. They're not to be trusted. Whereas the Sith, you can trust the Sith. Absolutely. They got your back. No, they don't. So at the end of the day, I feel like this show... I feel like this show overall painted the Star Wars franchise, to me, to a certain degree, in a very negative light as far as the Jedi and the Sith are concerned. And to me, at the end of this show, I felt like, so we're supposed to root for the Joker and Harley Quinn, aka Chimera and May, when the Jedi are but the guardians of peace and justice, even though they've made a lot of mistakes, yes, and they're flawed characters. I'm not trying to say that they're not, because they are very flawed. But that doesn't mean that all Jedi are bad. And I don't think
that's what that's communicating. Dion, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the Jedi fall, like, that's known. That's what we've always saw. That's what we've known. That's what it leads to. I feel like we needed something. We need that inciting incident to be something, so we can be like, oh, okay, so this is when this all started for the Jedi. Because and I don't think they got painted in a bad light. It's just like, okay, this is the decision that they made, and this one cost them a lot in the long run. So I still think they uphold the truth, justice, and all that stuff. About to go into the Superman line, but I thought it was fine. I wanted to really see, okay, this is the reason why
I don't know.
it turned out this way.
Right.
I didn't like how Vanessa threw everybody under the bus.
But
it had to be an incident, though. It had to be something.
And she saved herself. The only person she really cared about at the end of the story was herself.
That I would say no, because she really cares about the Jedi. Because here's the other thing too, is Vanessa's story in the books is actually not completed. So one of the questions I have from a storytelling standpoint is, okay, what else do they have planned? Because all of the books with her story are not completed yet, but yet they did this story, which is ahead of that, of what has already been written. So what else is planned for the other books and comic books that are going to come out that get her to this? Because when you do read the story, there's a very intense event after book 1 that really affects her and the Jedi, which really shakes them up, which is another layer of why they start turning this way. And I agree with Dion. This really was just to illustrate, to add another layer to why the Jedi fall. I don't think it paints all of the Jedi in a bad light at all. I mean, it just shows, and this was George Lucas's point. The Jedi they're not perfect. They're gonna make mistakes. It's a flawed institution. That was George's point, and he talks about this. So this show shows that, especially with the timeline that we're in, and then confirming where we're at 100 years to which movie, because a lot of people thought the Phantom Menace, but now to bring up this point, and one of the theories I thought, Vanessa was talking to someone on a comm. It had a very specific tonality. A lot of people think that's Palpatine. So a little bit of quick backstory is Dark Plagueis, it lives for about 200 years, could live longer because he is a Sith. So initially when we thought...
but Palpatine is...
Well, wait.
Time of the Phantom Menace, he's about 40 to 50. So
right. So
there would be no way that he's alive by this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to get confirmation on, from Lucasfilms, if double check this, because if it's not in fact 100 years before the Phantom Menace, and it's episode 3, because Plagueis is about 200 years old. If we're in the final stretch of his 100 years before he gets killed, we can probably see Palpatine somewhere in here that could lead up to that film. So it's just a question of, where does the 100 years end in terms of the films, if this theory is correct, because it's it's not confirmed. It's just what people are talking about right now, because it again, it adds another layer to another reason why the Jedi fall, because Plagueis likes to work in the background. He's experimenting on a lot of people, because like Palpatine wants to live forever, have that ultimate power, and Palpatine is really a front man to do all the front work for him while he's doing his experiments in the back, which would make sense if this is what it is. We do not know. I do not know. It is a theory. Right. So just all these different layers. So to me, this just shows, it proves George Lucas's point, because he's talked about this himself, that the Jedi are flawed. Not all of them are bad. We can pull out other Jedi that are not bad. Look at Qui-Gon, mwah. Ahsoka, mwah. There's a ton of Jedi that are actually really, Master Yaddle. I mean, not all of them are bad, and I don't think that was the point of the series, to go, they bad, they good. It's just, they're flawed.
By the way, according to Wikipedia, it is set 100 years before the Phantom Menace, because the timestamp is 132 BBY.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that theory is going to be not correct then for what the fans are talking right now.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, because, and even
that's all fan chatter. It's fan chatter.
Even if it was 100 years before Revenge of the Sith, that only moves it up by 13 years compared to Phantom Menace. It's not that much more.
Looking at the timeline there. Yeah, so just, I don't know. At the end of the day, this series just left a very bad sour taste in my mouth overall. But anyway, those are my...
It's more the marketing, right? It's like, you were sold a bill, these are the Jedi I'm going to follow for 8 episodes.
Here's the thing. If someone had told me before the show even started airing on television or streaming, whatever you want to call it, if someone told me that the writers of this show were all from Game of Thrones, then I would have said, okay, I shouldn't get attached to these characters because they're all going to die at the end anyway. So if someone had warned me, or something I read online warned me about this, I would have been like, okay, I won't get attached to these characters then, because they're probably all going to get killed off in the first 2 episodes.
But then, like we talked about before, the fact that the actors agreed to this, because this is in the beginning negotiations when they're going through the script, they're reading through the script, they are told this in the beginning.
Right.
So the fact that all of these actors agreed to it, believed in the script, believed in the story, trusted the vision of Leslie, Filoni, and Pablo, who Leslie had instructions from. She was instructed by them very heavily for this writing. So the fact that they all came in, we all got that information, and they were told, listen, your characters are going to get killed off, which means if we do a season 2 or more seasons of this, you are not going to be carried forward. Is that going to be a problem? That's part of the negotiations. They have to discuss that. And and because these actors, these artists are well respected, they're in a place now where they can make that the decision. If they really didn't like it and really had a really strong feeling of, this is actually a really bad script, this is a bad story, I'm not going to have part of it, they would have never have done it.
No, I get that.
They would have never agreed to it.
I get it. But I just felt like they took a very to me, they took a very talented cast and they wasted their talents on this show. That's just my 2 cents. But
I disagree with that, because the fact that you cared and loved these characters so much, they did their job by the credited, talented actors that they are. It wasn't wasted. It was well used.
I don't know. It's all right. I can be in the beginning of canon myself. That's fine. But anyway, those are my negatives. So once again, this is Nerdy Cantina talking all things Star Wars. Do not forget to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And do not forget to like and share this video with everyone you know. And if you're joining us live, or what is known as a replay, I should say, thank you so much for being with us. So, Case, any negatives for you?
Just to respond to your thing about, certain actors and characters in the show, I personally never really got that attached to most of the characters, any of them, because it is, as you say, like, some of them, they don't really get that many moments to shine. So I personally don't really understand why you got so attached to the characters in the first place, if that is based on simply by the fact that they are played by actors that you like. That again goes back to what I said last week. Like, that's not really an argument to me why they should stay alive. Because, like, to me, it was pretty clear from the beginning of this season that Osha and May are the 2 main characters. Those are the only 2 that will actually make it to the end. And those were the 2 that I really paid attention to see, like, how they developed. And I thought they developed all right. I am curious to see more about them. After 1 season, I think they're decent characters, but I'm not fully convinced about both of them, because they've only just started their arc. I thought their arc, both of them, was interesting enough in the first season to get me hooked, for me to say, I really do want to see a second season. I want to see how Osha and Kamir train, that kind of stuff. But yeah, with a lot of these characters, when they died, mainly because they were like played by names, and also, like, I remember last year at Star Wars Celebration that Jonas Suatomo, who played Kelnaka, was really excited about playing a Wookiee Jedi, and I'm like, dude, you have like 10 minutes of screen time in this entire show. But he was excited. But he was very excited for it. So I was definitely I was expecting more from Kelnaka. I will say that was a little bit of a letdown, because besides episode 7, where he really went crazy against Torben, which was pretty cool, by the way, besides that, he hardly did anything in the show. And I was a little bit disappointed. Like, you talk this on a stage at Star Wars Celebration, but you do this in comparison. So, a couple of the characters were indeed a little bit disappointing, and I had expected a little bit more of. But on the other hand, I do think that, for example, Kamir is actually becoming one of my favorite villains, because I think there's a lot going on with him that we don't know yet. And I would love to find out more about him in season 2. Like, has he been trained by Plagueis? What is he going to do with Osha now? We have no idea, but that is something that I would love to see in a season 2. I do think I'm skipping ahead a little bit, and I'm also completely off the point about negatives, because I personally I don't have like big negatives like you, Ryan, and I think you pretty much summed up all the negatives for the four of us, because the rest of us on this panel like the show, and we were completely fine with how it was presented as is. So I like the show. I don't have many negatives, and I just wanted to respond to you for a moment. That's what I have to say for now. We'll get into theories about season 2 in a little bit.
Yeah, no. That's.
I want to respond to something you said, Case. You said something very interesting that I wanted to piggyback on.
Yeah.
To what you're saying of what could happen with Osha and Chimere, one of the theories, especially now we definitely got the confirmed Plagueis and what Plagueis does in the background with experimentations. There's one of two possibilities. The first possibility could be because of the rule of two, and one of the rules of the rule of two with Sith lore is at some point you have to take out your master.
Yeah,
so one possibility is that when Chimere discovers May and learns about May, however that comes about, because we don't know how that happens. They didn't discuss that at all. Is that he was looking for an acolyte to be his Padawan to take out his master so he could become the new master. And we've seen that in other stories. It's seen in Star Wars Visions. It's seen in other books and comic books. It's
Dooku and Ventress.
Right, Dooku and Ventress.
Ventress is a good villain.
Dooku and Ventress, that's the same thing. That's the rule of two, and that's part of the lore of the Sith. The other theory is, because now we have Darth Plagueis, and we know, if you know about Darth Plagueis and how he does experimentations, he somehow possibly learns about Osha and May and that they're virgins and that they're the same being split into two. And he possibly wants to experiment on them so he can try to find a way to tap into this virgins to have him live forever. Same narrative as Palpatine.
To create life.
So he's using Chimere to get to them, to learn about them, and to train him as another front man while he's doing all the experiments in the back. That's another possibility.
I got you. Good. That's interesting, by the way.
But then, no negatives for me. I really enjoyed the show. I'm very happy with what we got. I enjoyed the storytelling. And it's one of those shows that I feel that each time that I watch it, I'm going to keep picking up new things each time. Because there's actually a lot of detail within each episode. So you can't really digest it in one sitting. You do have to go back and look at all the little details because it's very purposeful. But no negatives for me. This show's great. And Viva la Star Wars. We saunter on.
No argument there. Samantha says, I love The Mandalorian. Rapid fire question for the panel. Who is your favorite villain of all time and why, Case?
I'm just going to keep it with Star Wars and say Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Ooh, that's a good pick, man. Dion, who's your favorite all-time villain and why?
I'll go Thanos on that one. I enjoyed the portrayal and everything of that. So he's probably my favorite.
Well, he is inevitable. Anyway, he was a boss in those two movies. No, he was a boss in those two movies. Or not. Because Tony Stark woke up one day and he says, I am Iron Man. Click. He just snaps him out of existence.
He saw himself get beheaded and didn't flinch. Like, he was like, this means I won. Like, okay, cool.
It's true, because he said in the first movie, you should have aimed for the head. Anyway, Jen, who's your favorite villain of all time and why?
Oh man, that's hard. That's really hard. I was definitely a Palpatine for many years, but then when I got introduced to Thrawn, I really went over to the Thrawn team, because Thrawn in the first book figures out Palpatine within 60 seconds, and Palpatine.
Really?
Oh yeah, in book one, because if you're a Sherlock Holmes fan, you're gonna love Thrawn, because that's like the Star Wars equivalent. But in the first book, when he meets Palpatine, he figures him out in less than 60 seconds, and Palpatine is like, crap.
Oh, I got to read this one.
Same with Vader, by the way. I love how
in
the second Thrawn book, when he meets Anakin, and then because it's two stories going on at the same time. He met Anakin during the Clone Wars, and then he's on a mission with Vader. And then every single time when Thrawn is like, about Anakin Skywalker, and Darth Vader is like, I don't know him. Of course. Of course. He knows. I love it.
Now, again, like it took him a little bit because he starts noticing things
Right.
and he's like, that's freaking Anakin. Huh. Which is why in Ahsoka, when he finds out Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan, he's like,
oh shit.
This is a good.
Who's her master? That's a genuine freak out from Thrawn, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Man, I got to sit down and read these gosh darn or the audiobooks. Either one. There's multiple formats to read a book.
Think of it this way with the audiobooks. Like as you're going about your day or your new job or you're doing stuff in the house, you can just listen to it. So you can listen and still do stuff at the same time.
Jen's got a good point. So does Case. Favorite villain of all time. I'm gonna pull something from Dion here for a second. Joker. Ooh. Joker is by far and away, to me, the best villain because he is as close as I've ever seen any character in any property. I feel like I'm looking at Satan when I look into that guy's eyes. You want to know how I got these scars? Like that guy is just a freak. He is nuts. And Michael Keaton said to him one day, "Let's get nuts." So it's just Joker's the best, hands down.
Quick story. When I still worked for Barnes and Noble decades ago, I had a guy come in who was studying to go into law enforcement, and he was in one of his psych classes, and his teacher gave him the entire class of paper to do an entire paper on any criminal, real or fiction, like a complete psychological dissertation. He picked Joker. So he came in, he was like, I need every single Joker comic book you have in stock. I'm buying it today. I was like, every single one, and everything I had on the shelf, I gave him. He purchased it that day to write his paper.
All of it? Gee, that's a lot of coin, by the way, for Joker material, Dion. That's a lot.
But he was just so excited that his teacher was like, I don't care if they're real or fiction. This is just what you got to do. And he's like, I'm doing Joker. I'm doing Joker.
Dude,
awesome.
I like that he just shows up to the party and just causes destruction. I don't need a backstory on the guy.
That's called commitment to your report there, buddy. Great question. Love it. That was by Christie, by the way. She was asking us that.
Thank you.
And then she flips the script and says, who's your least favorite? Well, from the show we've been talking about, I got a few thoughts on that one. Least favorite villain? Oh, gosh.
Oh,
least favorite protagonist.
Protagonist. I'm sorry. Good guy. Good.
Favorite protagonist of all time.
That's hard.
Okay, so Bella Thorne from Twilight.
Yeah.
I think that's unanimous.
Yeah. Does anyone else agree that she doesn't? By the way, she doesn't react in the movie. She just has this cold stare at the camera. Do you ever notice that, Dion?
Oh God.
Yeah. This might sound bad. Frodo might be my least favorite.
You don't like Frodo?
I can actually understand this.
Yeah, I can understand
that is the heart of that movie.
Well, like he's actually, I can see why Dion says this because he's actually very different in the book. Frodo in the book is very different from Frodo in the movie.
Yeah. And with the movie, I was like, I don't like. I know he's carrying the weight of the world or Middle Earth on his neck, but I'm like, God, I don't like you. Let's give Legolas the ring and let him, run over top of people to get to Mount Doom. Let's do that. The movie would have been 20 minutes long.
I love Sam.
I'd have to sit down. I mean, Frodo's one of them, but I'd have to sit down and think about this. Probably just because we're in the moment and because we're talking about this show, OSHA.
That's good, man.
I don't know.
I actually agree with Case. I would say Bella from Twilight is mine.
Yeah, I saw the first movie in theaters and then I was like, okay, I'm done. Rapid fire question for Case. How did you meet Ryan, by the way? Samantha says.
The Schmodown. If you don't know what the Schmodown is, look it up on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Takako says the circumstances which necessitated the self-defense by Soul were created by the Jedi invaded the witch's home. Yeah, that's true. I can give you that. It's fine. Palpatine is a compelling antagonist, according to Samantha. There you go. Takako says, read Plagueis, headline to IndieWire. Plagueis was always going to be in the finale in every single version. There was a version where he was the button of the finale instead of Yoda.
Ooh, would have been a good.
Okay.
I have a question. How do you all feel with Yoda being the last sort of image scene from this show?
I feel that was a cheap fan service trick.
I thought it was the most obvious thing that
Very cheap.
If you had asked me what is one thing we're going to see in this season as like a cameo, and I'm like, we're going to have a quick Yoda cameo at the end. I could have told you that,
and we got it. We got it. So Case was right. So
I actually like one of the things that Leslie has proven is that she is a Star Wars fan, because I think she did a lot of different things for original fans that has been around since the original films came out, then the prequels, and then High Republic. Filoni and Pablo told Leslie she had to read all of the High Republic books at the time when she got the project. Had to read all of them.
That's a lot of research.
By the way, I do want to say, I said with our discussion of episodes 1 and 2 that Plagueis would be in this show.
Okay,
you called it. You called it. You did. But to finish my answer, so I actually like it because, again, what this show is demonstrating is one of the reasons why the Jedi fall, and that why Yoda, even though he's so wise, doesn't see this coming.
Mm-hmm.
So at some points of it, he has to be a part of it, no matter which layer it is and when that happens. So at some point, it just has to happen. It was just a matter of when does it happen. So they just chose to go with this one. I was happy we got the puppet, though. I was like,
so was I.
Are we sure it was?
It was a puppet.
I thought it looked awfully CGI to me.
No,
that was the puppet. That was the puppet.
You can't get the movement with the that was
right.
So was the show too predictable then? Like as a fan,
to a certain degree, I think it was
too predictable.
A lot of fans are gonna say it's predictable, but then I'm the gullible one. I'm like, I'm happy with it.
Okay.
I'm a fan and I want to be serviced.
Yeah, something to that effect. Let's see. Samantha goes on to say, Case, do you live in a Star Wars dungeon by chance? Laugh out loud. That's an awful lot of posters.
I mean, I have the Titanic behind me as
Do you? Is that what that is?
His heart goes on.
Oh, and by the way, over there I borrowed a door.
There it is.
Oh, that's good.
See that? Does anyone else see that? That's great. That's beautiful.
Oh, there you go.
That is genius, by the way, Case. I'm loving it. She says that's a lot of posters, and she goes on to say Dion has a great setup in his studio too. See, you're getting mad props from everybody in this chat, brother.
Dion has the ambiance going on with the lighting.
He does. Look at that lighting. Oh my god.
It works.
Yeah. It works. It works,
lights
man.
from boxes over here. You can't see
it is, right? Takako says, be like Denis Villeneuve. Put part 1 on the title screen before part 2 is greenlit for the Acolyte.
Dude, Tom.
It works.
I mean, if you want to put it on there, I mean, I don't know. But I kind of, this is a funny comment more so than a statement. Ryan's great at finding the positive.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the negatives.
I'll tell you what, Samantha. I'm better at finding the negatives in a project than I am the positives. Let me tell you.
That's why he needs to read.
By the way, she says, yes, the beauty of rereading is absolute gold. Yeah,
Samantha
says that. Chrissy says her favorite villain is Jack Nicholson's Joker. Wow.
Good pick.
And she likes Heath Ledger's iteration of the Joker. But who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I mean, the moment they announced Heath Ledger, I'm like,
I was like, no way.
This is gonna be good.
I actually thought it was gonna bomb horribly. I thought he was gonna bomb horribly, but he nailed it.
No, but like Heath Ledger was one of those actors. Like you could give him anything, and like he's one of the ones where you can put everything he has done on a different screen. You're not gonna see the same person twice.
It was great. That's why The Dark Knight is a great film in so many different ways. Joker is amazing, says Samantha, and then someone named Dutch Star Wars guy. I don't know who that is. Luke Skywalker.
I agree with that one. I agree with that. I agree with that guy too.
Mark Hamill is the best Joker.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Say about Ledger or Nicholson.
No, I get it.
Mark Hamill, come on.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Case, I'll be honest with you. His performance alone in Mask of the Phantasm is Oscar.
Yes,
like it's Oscar, man.
Yep.
It's so good.
That's can it be? Sal the Weasel. Sorry, Dion. I'm quoting your favorite movie. I'm so sorry. Samantha apparently loves the character of Bella. That's fine. That's fine if you love Bella. Chrissy says Frodo is super annoying.
Oh boy.
Samantha says Frodo has the uncanny eyes. So
and Harry. They did not special effect his eyes at all.
Chrissy says so is Harry Potter.
Yikes.
But no, here's the thing though about Harry Potter. He's funnier in the books. He has this dry humor that they just completely left out.
Yeah. Actually, Half-Blood Prince included it.
Oh, the
green one.
Yeah.
Well,
Harry's actually really
the
funny.
movie Half-Blood Prince is the first time that Harry Potter actually has a sense of humor, and I really appreciate the movie for
that. Yeah, but he's like that throughout all of the books. It was just
okay.
why did you do that?
Why did you wait so long? That's so weird. Sadly, didn't see cheap fan service trick. Doesn't get my hopes up. Listen, just watch the show, and if you enjoy it, it's great. And if you don't, that's fine too. It's okay.
Judge it by yourself. It's not.
Just watch it by yourself.
But it's good to have some sort of connective tissue to something that you know or seen before. Like that, it had to serve other fans too.
By the way, I
know who that is.
I have the feeling that a lot of fans would just get angry, be like, "Oh my God, where was Yoda?" Yes. Here we go.
A very good point, because it was like when Ahsoka, like when the newer shows come out, it's like, why are we seeing Luke and Leia? They're around. Why aren't we showing them? And then you have the other fans. Well, I don't think we should see them right now. I'm done with the Skywalkers. Do other stories. And then Ahsoka comes and they mention Leia. It's like, well, why didn't we see her? She's busy.
Oh,
it's essentially where are the Avengers when Spider-Man can't save New York?
Right.
That's that.
The rights were tied up at Sony. Get over it. No, I'm just kidding. God. I'm kidding. Takako says it's predictable to fans because they know the universe so well.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
When you know the universe, it can become more predictable. Absolutely.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since we've grown up with it since we were children.
Yeah, Takako mentioned that in the chat. By the way, Chrissy says you have to see the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which was Heath Ledger's last film before he passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that, Chrissy. So there's a million films I haven't seen that I need to see before I die. Takako says, I wish Mark Hamill had been able to play Mozart on screen in Amadeus. He played the role on Broadway a long time ago. I didn't know that about him.
Oh, that Takako, that would have been
Mozart?
brilliant.
Do you think he could play Mozart?
Oh, yeah, he could.
That's interesting.
Okay, but I think
is he too old now?
I think whoever played Mozart won the Oscar for it. So
wasn't that F. Murray Abraham? Or no, that was the guy who killed Amadeus. No, who played Amadeus? Who played Mozart? I don't know who played Mozart and Amadeus. By the way, Amadeus, it won 8 Oscars. Now, no more movies. That was from Last Action Hero when Arnold Schwarzenegger. If anyone hasn't seen that movie, check it out. It's a great parody / meta movie about how movies are made, especially action movies. It's really, really good and criminally underrated. Too many movies I've never seen before. Ryan must educate me. Laugh out loud, says Samantha. Oh, you're welcome. It'll happen one day. And then Tom Hulce played Mozart. There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, Tom Hulce.
Why is his name sound so familiar?
But why does his name sound so familiar? What is he? I feel like he did something really important besides that. I can't remember.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Let me know what he did. Something tells me he was in a big movie that I saw, and I can't remember.
Tom Hulce was.
Oh, he was the voice of Quasimodo in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
The voice of Quasimodo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's also in. He's also in Parenthood as Larry Buckman.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, that was him.
Yeah, that was him. And then he did both Quasimodo movies for Disney. He was also in Jumper with Samuel L. Jackson and Hayden Christensen as Mr. Boker.
Oh my god!
And
what a movie that was.
I know, right?
And then he's been in Frasier for anyone who's a Frasier fan.
There you go.
So yeah, he has quite a resume.
That is freaking awesome. And Samantha says, I have an original signature from Tom Hulce when I was a little kid.
Shut it.
Wow. Can we talk about that later?
You have that framed.
Yeah.
Please tell me you have that framed.
And she also goes on to say, I'm an accomplished violinist.
Bravo.
Well, there you go.
Love it.
Well, guess who else is a violinist? Amanda Stenberg is. So
she played her grandfather's violin for the recording of the music that she did for the show. It was very touching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was her grandfather's violin. She got to play for the music for the show.
Well done, Rue. Well done. By the way, Dion, I forgot to ask you if there is any negatives in this week's episode.
Oh, we're back to that.
Rails. We went off the rails.
Keep it on the rails.
Where did we get off? I don't remember where we got off. But no.
Negatives about the Acolyte.
Or this week's episode, if you want to be more specific.
Again, I think the series was fine. Before this episode this week, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, I enjoyed it, but if this was the last episode or this is how it ends, if it's only one season, I'm okay with it. It adds another layer to the Jedi that I never knew about. and just as a general fan of Star Wars, watching that show specifically for this one, maybe they didn't have enough episodes. Maybe this might be that one. Streaming, they usually go overboard. They get 13 episodes, you should have gotten 10, right? This was 8. I kind of wish I had 2 more just to round out the story a bit better, just to round the characters out a bit better. But again, after this episode, I'm like, okay, I want to see what happens next. Because when May got MIB'd, she remembered enough to, I don't know, seems like she's going to be looking for her sister again. So they're going to run into each other. Whatever plan they had to, like, hey, we're split. We're you yourself, you're yourself, and never the two should meet again. They're going to meet again. But I'm curious to see how that goes down and what memories pop up after that through that. So maybe there's some redemption for Soul when she remembers everything and then tells the actual truth. I don't know, just speculating, right? But there was enough there to keep me saying I'll be back for season 2 if we get another one. And that's a random thought. It's not a weakness. It's not a positive. But personal droids on Star Wars are like animal sidekicks to Disney princesses. I wrote that down because everyone has
little
one.
Pip there. Yeah, little Pip droid.
I don't know how Star Wars does it. With every new thing they do, when they
It's perfect.
The story, we are instantly enamored. Like, oh my gosh, I love you. I need that. In my house.
You're gonna make a good amount of money on the toy sales.
Exactly, but weaknesses. There were those, but I mean, I'll come back for. It didn't do enough to say like I'm done with this.
All right, so it didn't sour you, is what it is.
It didn't, because I didn't go in with. I don't think I went in with that many expectations. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, this takes place when I'm not going to know really anyone in there, so these are new characters that I'll have to learn. I mean, if you read the books and stuff like that, there's characters that are familiar to you, but when I'm going in and I'm like, okay, I got new characters, new story. Let's see where we go. So I was a little bit open-minded, but expectations weren't that high.
And you actually you brought up a really good point about if this show had enough episodes, because I was actually with in another room that I do with my friends. We actually talked about that with Ahsoka, with the story, if it was enough episodes to really flesh everything out, because one of the reasons why I think Andor has done so well is because of how the amount of episodes and how they structured it. You had 3 episode arcs with just a momentary pause between 2 episodes and then go back into a 3-episode arc to finish it out. Yeah. One of the things that I thought was, if they just took this template for the streaming shows and applied it to every show they do, I think you could get a really good story with the stories that you want to tell, because everything was well concise, well explained. It sets up for really good pacing for what you want to do. So I know they're not going to, but hypothetically, if they're like, you know what, let's just redo Acolyte season 1 and let's use the template of Andor, I would be really curious to see what would happen to the story and the characters with that extra set of time and structure to the story. Because since it's supposed to be a murder mystery story, I think that additional structure would make it more interesting, from my opinion.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. Man, so many ways you can go with this. But yeah, it makes sense. All right, well, Dion, thanks for sharing your non-responsive of negatives, which is fine. Yeah, but Takako says F. Murray Abraham played the character of Solari, who was actually the main character in that film. Not, in fact, Mozart. Abraham won the Oscar that year. Hulse was nominated, but he did not win at that time.
Rude.
Well, I mean, the kid in the movie, Danny Madigan, looks up at Arnold and says, "Be careful, Jack. He killed Mozart in a movie. Amadeus, it won 8 Oscars." Anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's true. That movie was so meta, but it was so good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just works. Samantha says earlier on, that was a great plot point that we brought up. And then Chrissy says, I love this panel. You guys are so fun to watch, and you really understand the Star Wars universe. Apparently, 3 out of the 4 think I don't understand it at all. I appreciate your.
We're not saying that. We're just saying read. That's all we're saying.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Appreciate your discussion, your responses to these questions. I can't wait to see your next live show. Keep on being great. Thank you, Christy. We love you.
Appreciate
Christy,
that.
we love you. You're great. And by the way, Samantha says Ryan finds amazing people. Yeah, I tend to find some good people once in a while. You know, it doesn't happen too often, but you know, we got a good panel here. And Christy, who couldn't unfortunately couldn't be with us this week because of her schedule. We wish her well, and we hope to hear her thoughts on what is known as the Acolyte on her social media. So please follow her on @SnipsandCo_ on your Philly neighborhood Instagram. So yeah, for me, I thought we were going to get we did get a fresh new story with fresh new characters. We did get it. It's just that the way it was written and some of the creative decisions that they made, I didn't agree with it really. So for me, this left a sour taste in my mouth. But you know what? In the words of our friendly neighborhood Hera, we have hope. Hope that things can get better, and they will. We just don't know when, but we'll find that out as we go along. There's no question. So anyway, does anyone in this panel have any final thoughts as we're wrapping this up? Case, what do you hope to see from the Star Wars universe moving forward?
Well, it was a good point that Jen brought up about, you know, these 8-episode seasons versus a 12-episode season of Andor. I do think 12 episodes is really what helps Andor. And I do think, like, I really loved Ahsoka personally because to me it was a continuation of Rebels, and Rebels is my favorite Star Wars show. So I really love to see these characters. But I did feel towards the end it was a bit rushed, and there was more to be told. And of course, we're going to get a season 2, but you need to wait for that. With the Acolyte, yeah, 8 episodes. Again, like I said earlier, I thought some of the characters were well set up and are decent at this point. But they're nowhere near my favorite characters, and they do need to do more in another season to really convince me. But I do think we set up very well for a second season. Like Vanessa is going to talk to Yoda. What is she going to talk about? What is she really going to tell him? And how, to what degree will the Jedi Council now get involved? May is on Coruscant, has her mind wiped. What is she going to do? Osha is going to train with Khmer, who is probably going to be influenced somehow by Plagueis. How is that going to play out? So there are so many things set up for season 2 that I cannot wait for, honestly. So I am definitely very interested in the season 2 whenever it comes out, probably 2 years or so from now. But I like the show enough to, you know, keep my interest, and I do want to see season 2. So I hope that you know, they can also learn from the structure of these shows, because 8 episodes, like you can say, 8 episodes is the same as House of the Dragon. Yeah, House of the Dragon has hour-long episodes. Every single episode is an hour and 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. That's very different.
So you get 8.
But that's more
so you actually get more than 8 hours of content. In this case, you get 8 episodes of roughly 40 minutes. That means 20 minutes per episode less is way less, is way shorter. So I don't think that 8 episodes is really the way to go, in my opinion. So I do hope that they learn from that. We'll see about that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, as I said, I'm excited for season 2. I do want to see that.
Okay, fair enough. Jen, final thoughts, and what do you hope to see from Star Wars moving forward?
I agree with Case. I think if these episodes, granted, I did enjoy them, if they were each an hour long and had a little bit more time in storytelling, could have made a little bit of a difference with how some things got played out. Definitely, I can't disagree with that. Yeah, I agree with Case. With everything and how they landed the plane for season 1, I definitely want to see a season 2 because, like we said, we got Plagueis, Yoda is involved. So yeah, those are really good questions. What is Vanessa going to tell him? What is he even going to know the truth, or is she going to play off the same story? Which again shows where the Jedi are turning to and what we come to in episode 3 of the films and why they fall with Order 66. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens and how they flesh this out. And then since I can't speak.
Vanessa.
Thank you.
Your character that you played on television for 8 weeks.
I know. I've been saying her name so much. You know, the fact that her story is actually not done in the books and how everything is going to correlate into the show, possibly, because the fact that they made Leslie read all of the books, like every single one of them, I find that as an interesting detail versus that if this was going to just be a standalone like Kenobi, I can just see her like, well, only read these books with these, but that every single one, that's very interesting to me.
I get that. Dion, final thoughts. What do you hope to see from Star Wars moving forward, other than the fact that you're hoping for season 2, unlike me?
Well, I'm echoing everything Case and Jen said, because again, season 2, again, it was enough for this. It was enough to finish off this season to be like, okay, I want to see how the rest of this turns out. And I am a sucker for a good sort of universe building sort of thing, you know what I mean? So I want to see how this connects to stuff that I know, or see how this connects to movies and TV shows as they move on. So, and if they hint back to this stuff too. So again, wish it was more episodes just to flesh out some characters, but other than that, man, I think it can be a redeemable season 2. I think they've done enough I hope they've done enough, Brian, to bring you back to join in for next season.
Well, unfortunately,
in 2 years.
I hate to disappoint you, but in the words of Randy Jackson, it's a no for me, dog. So I got both feet out the door. I don't care if this show gets to season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I am looking forward to is new stories with new characters. I've always said this. I'm going to keep saying it. Star Wars is our bread. We love Star Wars. All of us here love Star Wars to different degrees, and I love it. And I look forward to seeing what they bring to us in the future. I was hoping that this would be the beginning of a new era of Star Wars network television, but unfortunately, The Acolyte just didn't land for me. It didn't land for me, but it did land for some other people out there, and that's great. Listen, you go ahead, you enjoy it, you play in your sandbox, enjoy the living heck out of it. Go for it. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. With me, I look forward to the next show, whether it's Skeleton Crew this or Star Wars What If. That kind of show, that would be great. I'd like to see a what if scenario played out. That'd be nice. But I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every single one of the panelists who have joined us for these last 7 weeks of talking about this show, talking about Star Wars, all the things that happen in the galaxy far, far away. We look forward to coming back and talking about more things concerning Star Wars in the future. So with that being said, Jen, if someone's watching or listening to this and want to find out more about you and your great recommendations for reading books, where can they follow you on social media, my good friend?
You can follow me at _your_bald. That is my podcast called Rocking Your Bald, as well as my personal handle at Jen Erminia Gadowski. I am also on Clubhouse at Jen Gadowski, where I run a Star Wars fan group with my friends, where we will also do our own discussion tonight of The Acolyte. Very spoiler heavy discussion. We tend to go late. So yeah, you can follow me there and stay tuned because I got fun stuff in the works.
Well, that's just bloody great. You know why? Because Takako says, I'm going to be back for more discussion on Clubhouse, Star Wars Universe Room. So
that's where we're going to be.
There you go. Yay. Join them. It's going to be a lot of fun. Have a few drinks. Have something to eat. Why don't you? Jen, we love you. Peace and love. We wish you nothing but the best. And as always, may the force be with you. Case, the Dutch Star Wars guy, the man himself, the legend. If someone wants to know more about you and your epic takes on the galaxy far, far away, or Middle Earth stands upon the brink of destruction. You will unite or you will fall. Where can they follow you on social media, my good man?
Yeah, I don't really talk that much about Lord of the Rings. I talk mostly about Star Wars on my channel, the Dutch Star Wars guy, where I am still working on a video that's going to come out probably next week about the fandom, which has been a very big point over the last couple of weeks, unfortunately. But I do think it's going to be a good video. And if you want to just follow someone in general who is mostly positive about Star Wars, I do have my criticisms sometimes, but most of the time I just like this stuff, then I would say subscribe to my channel. Go follow me over there. You can also follow me on Twitter at DutchSWGuy. And for more regular movie opinions, you can follow me on Letterboxd, Case247, Case is spelled that way. And I mean, sometimes here over, and I quote for watch-alongs and stuff like that. Happy to be on, as always, and thank you for having me, Ryan. I look forward to whatever is the next thing Star Wars that we're going to talk about here on the Nerdy Cantina.
Maybe our Star Wars collectibles. That's going to be fun.
Maybe.
We'll be here.
I have plenty of those.
Yeah.
I need to rebuild my Star Destroyer for that.
Don't worry. I'm going to give you plenty of time to rebuild your Star Destroyer, Death Star, all that good stuff before you come on the show next time. So it'll happen, buddy. But thank you, Case. Appreciate all the hard work you put into our show and the stuff you do in the background. You're the man. Wish you nothing but success. Dion, the man of 1,000 ways to keep notes, whether it's legal pads, whether it's pens, whether it's smartphones, cell phones, non-cellular phones, whatever it is. If someone wants to know more about you and your incredible feelings about fandoms and hot takes, where can they follow you on social media, my good friend?
Yeah, over on TikTok and Instagram at All Star Fandom Show. Go over there. follow, do everything there. You know, all the social media stuff, right? Over here on YouTube as well with the All Star Fandom Show there. A few movie reviews, few talks about fandom. The show that now I'm breaking up, right? The show that we just celebrate fandom. So whatever those fandoms might be, we talk about it. We don't bear on the side of a lot of fan toxicity. We try to think about the positives and why we love those genres and fandom so much. So, like I said, All Star Fandom Show on Instagram and TikTok, along with YouTube. We're over there every week, Prime on Thursday. And Ryan, again, thanks for having me on this season. I think I only missed one show, but again, thanks for having me. Learned a lot. I got a lot of reading to do, but again, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you and I both have a lot of reading to do. Good God, man. We're going to be driving ourselves insane here. Thank you so much to all our panelists for being here. My name is Ryan of Anti-Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Follow us across all forms of social media simply at Anti-Quote Channel. Links to where you can follow our panelists who have been on for the last number of weeks are located in the description of this video and our past videos, which you can find on the Star Wars Nerds playlist on Anti-Quote Channel. I do want to let you know that movie watch-alongs are going to be on the weekends, and also I'm going to share with you a sneak peek at a show that we're going to be bringing back in just a matter of 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, we're going to bring back a show that we've been very anxious to bring back. And I want to thank Case, our very good friend Case, for putting together this video package that we're about to share with you. So here is a sneak peek at the return of one of our favorite shows that we have for you on the Anti-Quote Channel. And you're going to be able to see another great piece of footage concerning Star Wars. So take a look at the show that we are bringing back in 2 weeks on August the 2nd. I believe it's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We call it The Meaning of Fandom. Take a look at this sneak peek.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! It's time! Tell us about yourself. Who are you? Tell me! It is a gift. A privilege. Behold. My stuff. Ooh. Now you want to get nuts? Come on! Let's get nuts.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello tonight.
Just me.
Have you been with us before?
First time.
Oh, you picked a great night.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
Get all worked up, silly. It's a party.